.191 at 1,623 miles. It's half the length of America's longest highway, but since it doesn't go through Iowa, it's twice as beautiful. So here's what's up. We're schlepping from Mexico to Canada through America's varied and iconic landscapes to help you fatten up that bucket list of yours. Armed with an old truck, an older brother-in-law, and a new drone, I'd like to share with you America's single most scenic highway. Let's crack open a refreshing beverage together. Have some fun. We could have just taken 191 directly into Blanding, and I'm obligated to make a joke about how that would have been bland, but instead we decided to go and turn over this way, a little bit west towards Valley of the Gods. The interesting thing about Valley of the Gods is, compared to everywhere else in the U.S., you can just kind of go there. There's no waiting in line at a kiosk to buy a pass. There's no gate telling you not to go there. You just kind of go there, and here you are. Which I think is amazing. Most places it's not like that anymore, and so that itself is a refreshing treat. But then, of course, it also kind of looks like this there, which I think you'll agree is just awe-inspiring. As you can see, the roads through Valley of the Gods are in great condition, and they should be passable by just about any kind of vehicle in good weather. And interestingly enough, you can even camp in Valley of the Gods for free. You could just pull off to the side of the road and pitch a tent. The only thing you can't do is trash the place or have a fire. I think it's one of the best managed pieces of public lands there is. Eventually, it becomes necessary to depart the Valley of the Gods, but even that's kind of unexpectedly beautiful. On the way up out of the valley, you go across something called the Moki Dugway. Moki Dugway is a bunch of zigzag switchbacks that weave up the cliff. It was constructed in 1958, and it's a dirt section of the highway. It's a little slippery in the winter, so if it's snowy and icy, I hope you got good tires, but it is in itself a fascinating piece of the trip. So, for being only a few miles off 191, I think this is a really worthwhile diversion and something that you won't want to miss. After our diversion to the valley, we decided to return to the 191, and we were treated to a reminder that desert weather can change very quickly. Thankfully, the rain washed off our windshield, and we were able to see a beautiful view of the Abajo Mountains. I'm pretty sure Abajo means low, and I'm not really sure what kind of mountains are low, but that's what they look like. Looks pretty tall to me. Anyway, when we got to Blanding, the lunch choices were anything but bland. We found a place where you could buy a burrito and throw an axe. Sadly for us, we got here on a Sunday, so no burritos, but right up the road is Moab. Now, Moab's usually pretty crowded when the weather's nice. It's just such a beautiful area, but they heard that we were coming, so they all got the heck out and gave us a little bit of room so we could explore the backcountry. A lot of the most beautiful scenery around Moab does require that you have a pretty decent 4x4 or a good set of legs and a mountain bike.
bandit. This way cool dance, you gotta try. The dance that I'll dance till the day I die. So curl in a ball, grab your ankles, stretch out your back till your vertebrae crack.
At Crescent Junction, where 191 meets I-70, you have a choice. And I don't mean the choice as to whether or not you enter that crazy-ass store, because yes, you enter that crazy-ass store. You could either go west along I-70 and take 191 the rest of the way up to Bernal, Utah, which is a pretty drive. Or if you look at the map a little bit longer, you might start noticing some strange town names like Dragon and Rainbow. Now, those are cool. I'm a little curious. But when I started looking at the satellite view, I got a little more curious. Look close and you'll see a line in the dirt that seems to cross right through the town of Rainbow. So our already slightly unfaithful trip up the 191 through Utah was going to take us into the Colorado Rockies. The western approach of the Rockies probably warrant their own video series because they're amazingly beautiful, and unfortunately we missed most of that coming through here at night because we were trying to make time. But we did encounter some interesting sights in the middle of the night, and the road got pretty rugged once we got out into the truly desolate areas. These are places that don't have recent tire tracks. I wouldn't expect that someone would be along anytime soon if you find yourself in trouble, so you're going to want to make sure that you have plenty of water, blankets, anything you need to survive for a couple of days if you're going to come out this way, because any kind of mechanical trouble could be trouble for you.
Dragon, Utah. I guess we should take a picture of that.
The next morning we arrived at Dragon, Utah, which is desolate but beautiful. You've probably guessed by now that the giant crack we saw is a mine, and you might find yourself being curious what it was they were mining in this crack. Well, it turns out they were mining something called gilsonite, and gilsonite is a substance that looks a little bit like obsidian or charcoal. It's a petroleum product, and it melts a little bit when you expose it to flame. We didn't try giving it more than a lighter to see if it would actually catch fire. What you use this stuff for is to strengthen asphalt. It makes roads more durable in hot weather and in rainy weather. And also it used to be used on lacquer to make antique cars black when they weren't antiques yet. At its peak, the region had about 250 residents, but by 1939 they had all moved out. And not because a dragon chased them off. It was these little freaking mosquitoes. They chased us off too.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
In spite of, or perhaps because of, the hostility of those mosquitoes, we found this area just utterly beautiful, and I can't wait to return and explore it a bit more, maybe with some better bug repellent. With signs of civilization returning, we were on our way to Vernal, Utah. Vernal is a town of about 11,000 people, so it's big enough to have restaurants, hotels, anything you need to get fresh and back up for your trip across the Uintas mountain range. If you found the rest of 191 through Utah to be beautiful, the section that goes past Ashley National Forest and the eastern slope of the Uintas Mountains is just a crescendo on top of all of that. I can't describe how quickly the landforms change, the recreational opportunities present themselves. The camera can't capture its beauty. You'll have to see this for yourself.
Tonic, you be the gin, you're the thief, it's my lovely soul. I'll be the toy in your happy meal. Slide my letter through your letterbox. You are the scars on the chicken pox. I'll be the rocks, you be the rolls. I could take you out and spend my goals. If you're my garden on your holes, make your way head, I can be your eyes closed. Look into my eyes, and you can see I wanna get my kite stuck in your seed. The seed in your garden, the mud on your lawn. Keep you up till the break of dawn. I wanna be the first thing that you see. I wanna dunk my biscuit in your tea. I wanna climb your mountain, swim your sea. I wanna dunk my biscuit in your tea. I wanna climb your mountain, swim your sea. I wanna dunk my biscuit in your tea. In your tea.
Descending north, we find ourselves at the Flaming Gorge, where a dam produces an enormous freshwater lake that offers year-round recreation. The Flaming Gorge National Recreation Area is absolutely stunning, a lot of fun to swim at, and it's where we end our trip through Utah.
I'm the ice cream toy next to your jelly. You could digest me in your belly. Put my head inside your hat. I'm the army, entering combat. You are the bite, I am the fangs. You be the fireworks, I'll be the bang.
And I don't know if this happened to you guys. As soon as I stepped off the plane here, the air hit my eyes and my eyes would not stop watering. I was like, oh my God, right. So I went to the doctor here. I thought it was gonna be allergies. Plot twist, it was not allergies. Turns out, depression.
Well, Seymour, I made
In the
it.
darkness is falling down, in the times of tough alright. The sound of evil laughter falls around the world tonight.
I still masturbate while eating top ramen at a faster rate. In the bigger quantities, it counts as rape when I'm slurping at this unbelievable pace. I turn the temperature up all the way to sweat up on my face.
Oh my God, they see a bomb. Wake up! Grandma should put a little makeup!
How many shrimps do you have to eat before you make your skin turn pink? Eat too much and you'll get sick. Shrimps that's 50 cents.
Talk to me. Something right above the field of king. Talk to me. A baby boy without